Now, from the outset, I just want to say that I have no problem on a personal level insofar as homosexuals are concerned. I myself am not homosexual. I'm very virulently heterosexual. But insofar as my interactions with homosexuals over the years, I've had nothing but very enjoyable experiences. In point of fact, a long-standing attorney of mine is homosexual. I don't have an issue with gays. I just want to make that clear from the outset, because I think that a lot of people will automatically say that I'm being homophobic somehow by the nature of this video. And I'm not being homophobic. I'm just talking, or I'm going to speak, of the practical issues when a heterosexual man deals with a homosexual man. The situation is very akin to when a woman has to deal with a man in a business setting or any kind of setting. There are certain implied rules, and when the man violates those rules insofar as his behavior towards the woman, well, the woman has to be prepared. Maybe I'm being vague, so let me put some detail on this little painting that I'm trying to paint. You see, most women, they talk to one another. They talk to one another about the men that are in their environment, in their social circle, in their business setting, what have you. They talk about those men. Of course they do. It's perfectly natural. We human beings, we do talk, and we love to talk about one another. Sure. So women talk about the other men in their milieu, and often as not, women will tell other women about some man here, there, at work, in their social setting, wherever, who fails to conform to the social norms. What am I talking about? I'm talking about men who behave like pigs towards women. It happens all the time. These men who are grabby, these men who try to sort of like foist their presence on women. Look at the Joe Biden situation. Yeah, that kind of man who is just a little too close for comfort and constantly tries to kiss women when the women clearly do not want such contact. Yeah, that kind of guy. Women talk about that sort of guy. Of course they do, as they should. Of course they should talk about such sort of men, because women have to be on their guard. They don't want to find themselves alone in some room or far from any assistance with such a man. And they have to take a bit of preventive care about it. Yeah, of course. So that's why women talk about this. And I would not be surprised if this is hardwired into women's evolutionary development. That women talk to one another, sort of like compare notes about the different men, and sort of like that way come to a consensus that these guys over here are good guys, but those guys over there, you want to stay away from them, or you want to have a third party present whenever they're around because they're going to try to pull something on you. I would bet that women have some sort of evolutionary part of their psychological makeup that has brought that to the fore, that it's hardwired. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But see, that sort of alarm is not hardwired with men insofar as homosexual men are concerned. Yeah. And I know a lot of stories of people whom I knew very, very well who were, for all intents and purposes, sexually assaulted by gay men. It happens all the time. It happens all the time that homosexual men, gay men, will many times cross that line insofar as their attitude and behavior is towards a straight man. Sometimes it's out of ignorance because the gay man thinks that the person he's attracted to is also gay when in fact they're not. And sometimes it's malicious. Sometimes these gay men, quite frankly, they just want some straight ass, to be really vulgar about it. And they make no bones about it, and they're willing to act in ways that are incredibly boorish. I am calling it incredibly boorish, quote unquote. But, you know, it's basically just a one stop away from full-on sexual assault. And it happens all the time. I knew a number of young men, you know, attractive young men, because of course it happens to attractive young men, who were, for all intents and purposes, sexually assaulted by gay men. Yeah, especially when they were like in their late teens, early 20s. guys I knew growing up, classmates of mine, friends of mine, guys I'd party with, and they tell me some stories that had happened to them. Sometimes they'd laugh them off, and sometimes it was not really funny in any way. It was really just sexual assault. And one case in particular that I knew of a guy I knew really well, he told me basically it was attempted rape. Yeah. You see, in the Me Too culture, there's this attitude that only straight men are unduly sexually aggressive. I don't really believe that. I think that especially straight men have been so indoctrinated into the notion of consent and no means no and all the rest of it that I actually think that most straight men, at least in the Western democracies, they've learned the lesson, right? But gay men, that's another story. That's a very, very different story. In the comment section of my channel, I hear stories of guys who talk about gay men who, try to take liberties with men who are not gay. And they think that they are entitled to sex with the straight guy. Yeah. I get comments, well actually I get emails, okay, because the guys don't want to put it out there. There are a few comments here and there on the actual channel, but most of it, now that I think about it, is actually emails. But the point remains, see, they tell me about stories about guys who, gay men, who just do not understand that no means no. Now you got to handle these people. You got to handle them because they can cause a lot of damage to you. They can cause a lot of damage to you in your job. They can cause a lot of damage to you socially. They can just cause a lot of damage, full stop. Okay? It's not just the potential for assault. It's the potential, because homosexual men tend to be very sociable and very good at maneuvering themselves socially, that they can hurt your life very badly. I mean, after all, I've said this before, see, our lives depend on other people. We are social beings. We are social animals. And if there is one thing that gays tend to be very, very adroit at, is the social interaction. And so very easily, if you turn down homosexual advance, that gay man, out of spite, can hurt you. And hurt you very badly. They can hurt you with women, most especially. Oh yeah. Because homosexual men have very strong relationships with women. Of course they do, because women don't find them threatening. A homosexual man is not interested in having sex with a woman. He's interested in having sex with a man, of course. And so a homosexual man has often as not the same interest and the same perspective as heterosexual women. And that's why they hang out together. It's like another girlfriend. And so just as they are like another girlfriend, they act like another girlfriend, and they gossip with other women as if they were just another girlfriend. And they can gossip about you. And they can gossip about you and say shit about you. Shit about you that can hurt you very, very badly. There's a comment on my channel, you can look for it yourself, where a guy is saying how he rebuffed a homosexual's advance, and this gay man started basically bad-mouthing him throughout his entire social circle. And it was quite obvious the way that this young man was writing the comment, though he himself didn't understand it. It was that the homosexual man had sexual desires for the guy who wrote the comment, right? But the guy who wrote the comment, he was clearly straight because he didn't see these signals, because he viewed the gay guy as just another guy. He didn't view him as a sexual being. And so, of course, he missed the signals. The gay man felt rebuffed. And so, in revenge, out of spite, which is a perfectly human reaction, the gay man just started bad-mouthing him to all the women in the commenter's social circle. And the commenter said how he was being ostracized and he didn't know how to fight this, how to stop this, which is tragic. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time, and so you have to guard against it. The best way to guard against it is that, see, when a homosexual approaches you and you realize that he has sexual designs on you and wants you sexually, apart from saying no thank you, what you have to do is figure out what is the social intersection between you and this gay man. And you have to go to that group of people whom you intersect with that gay man, and you have to tell him that this gay man hit on you, and you have to tell him that you rebuffed him because you're just not gay. And though you like him and he's a great guy, you're just not interested in having sex with him. And you have to basically be proactive. Basically, you have to torpedo him first before he torpedoes you back. That's what I'm saying. See, because think of a guy who is rebuffed by a woman. He's rebuffed by a woman. He advances on the woman. He puts out the signals that he wants her sexually, of course, and she rebuffs him, right? What happens normally? Well, the guy is just like, God damn it, and he might go sour grapes route and say, oh, she's just a bitch or a lesbian or some shit like that, right? Which is just sour grapes and means nothing really. But he'll move on, right? But a gay man who is sexually rebuffed, he's not going to take it well. They usually do not. They usually take it very badly. And in point of fact, they take it as badly as when a woman is sexually rebuffed. Because you see, most women, they don't have to work very hard to get laid now, do they? No. They have to do very little. Basically, all they have to do is say yes, right? And they will get laid. If a woman is rebuffed, how does she take it? She takes it badly, very badly, right? And so what does she do? Well, she wants revenge because her pride is hurt, you see? And something similar is going on with gay men. When a gay man is sexually rebuffed by a heterosexual man, by you, well, he is going to be vindictive and he is going to hurt you. So you have to stop that. You have to play hardball. And you have to go out there and preemptively defend yourself and make it clear that you don't have any problem with the guy, you're not homophobic, you're not a bad person, you're just not interested in him sexually. You think he's a great guy, but you just don't swing that way. It's not your fault, you were just made that way, you were made straight. You have to do this, and you have to be aggressive about it, because the gay man will be aggressive about being vindictive about you. See, this is unfortunate, right? It's happening because what's going on, of course, is that back in the day, homosexuality was not something that anybody was proud of. Homosexuality, on the contrary, was something to be ashamed of. And if you were hit on by a homosexual guy, right, you could just blow him off and you knew that there weren't going to be any consequences. But nowadays, no. With the normalization of homosexuality, with the normalization of gay marriage and a whole host of prerogatives that homosexuals have, which they did not have before, well, now homosexuals have, the frying pan by the handle. Yeah? They really have the power, the social power, and they can hurt you very badly. And don't think otherwise. I mean, a lot of people say that, oh, gays are, a minority and poor gays and blah, blah, blah. But no. The normalization of homosexuality has put straight men in a very vulnerable position. Oh, yeah. There is more than one case where a straight guy was, for all intents and purposes, arm twisted into having gay sex with a gay man that he didn't want to. Oh, yeah. It happens all the time. A lot of gay guys, because they realize the social power that they have, and they realize how, devastating the accusation of homophobia can be, well, they use that to their advantage. Of course they do. Of course they do, because they're human beings. Because human beings, us, you, me, everyone you meet, yeah, we will take advantage of situations for our benefit. This is the nature of being people, okay? It's not a pretty sight, but it's the truth. And so just because somebody is gay doesn't mean that they're going to be morally more pure. No. Just because they're gay doesn't mean that they're going to not take advantage of every opportunity that they have. And so it is perfectly reasonable, or no, not reasonable, but understandable, that a gay man will use his social power to get what he wants, to fuck the guy that he wants to fuck. And it happens all the time. It happens all the time. I know countless cases of straight guys who wound up getting fucked by a gay man because they realized that if they turned him down or said no or whatever, they'd be accused of discrimination, all the rest of it. I mean, there's a whole subculture in Brooklyn of straight guys who are bisexual, not because they really like dick, but because they've been arm twisted and socially ostracized almost. Or let me phrase it, they are acting out of fear of social ostracism. They're acting out of that fear and they go gay, not because they want to be gay, but because they're afraid. Don't be that way. No, to yourself be true. That is a wise saying. If you're straight, don't put up with any shit. And be willing to face the social ostracism. But defend yourself. Tell people, far and wide, everyone, that, you know, this guy who is gay wanted you sexually and you turned him down and now he's making your life a living hell. You tell everyone. You don't have any problem telling people, okay? And people will catch on, okay? Because people are fundamentally fair-minded. And so when they hear a story whereby a gay guy is saying shit about you, that you're homophobic, you're this, that, the other, and then they hear from you that basically, you know, this gay guy over here wanted to sleep with you and you just didn't want to because you're not gay, and, you know, people are going to side with you, so don't be afraid. Don't allow yourself to be arm twisted into doing something that you don't want to do. Because remember, no means no for everyone.